There has been this battle for quite a while now. Analog versus digital. What is better? Always the answer is different depending on who is telling it. It doesn't matter what kind of analog system you have or what kind of digital system do you have. Analog will always sound different from digital. People usually don't listen to music and at the same time they're seeing the specs on how this audio equipment will perform. So that's why I don't think that measures in audio are something that is relevant. At the end of the day, you will choose one system, you prefer something because how it sounds, not because how it performs or how it measures. So I kinda lied when putting the title on this video because I don't think that vinyl is better than digital or the other way around. I think that people will prefer something or the other. In my case, I prefer the analog experience and I will explain you why. I think that my analog system was built by myself and for myself. And if you have a turntable at home and you care just a little bit about it, it's very likely that you have built it by yourself as well. And that system and my system is very unique. And let me explain why. When I bought my first turntable, it was a TIAC that was all made of plastic and it was okay because I was starting the hobby. But I never thought that it outperformed my CD player or it sound better in some way. But then I investigated a little bit and I found out that as there are better CD players, there are better turntables and because of some reasons. There were a lot of components on the turntable that you can change or you can improve in order to hear the music better. I will mention which are, for me, the most critical ones. The Platter material changes how the vinyl sits in the turntable, and this will change the sound. Normally with a turntable, you will have either a plastic, a silicone platter, or you can have a fabric platter. And your record will move not in the same way depending on the different material of this platter. Trust me, these little moves, even if they are very little, this will affect the sound. In my case, the material that I liked the most, how it changed the sound, it was cork. With the cork, I gained a little bit in the bass range. It was a little bit boosted, the bass, but it was very organic in the same time. And please bear in mind that if you use a fabric platter, whenever you are hearing music, this fabric will elevate the electrostatic force that your record has. And trust me, you don't need to have magic ears in order to notice this electrostatic when listening to a record. A record with electrostatic will sound significantly worse than a record without, so bear that in mind. Tracking force. Tracking force is the amount of weight that the stylus applies on top of the record. There are some cheap turntables that doesn't allow to modify this tracking force. And the thing about this is that if the tracking force is too high, this will damage two things: your record and your stylus. And if the tracking force is too little, maybe you will have some skips during the playback. With that said, the tracking force, even if it's too high or too low, it will alter it also the listening experience. So if you have a new stylus, and you probably have, because the stylus they have a lifespan of something between 1,000 and 2,000 hours. So you need to be very cautious about this. If you have a stylus that you have been used for over 2,000, 3,000 hours, this will basically generate a very round shape stylus that it will affect the sound. You will not hear the music as you heard when the stylus was new. And again, there are some cheap turntables that they don't give you the ability of exchanging the stylus. So imagine having a turntable for over 1,000 hours of listening to music, and what are you going to do? You're going to throw it out, or you're gonna keep listening to music on it? Maybe it's better to throw it out, yeah. A phono preamp. As opposed to CDs, vinyl needs to have a boost on their signal. in order to be the audio to be audible. If you turn a vinyl player on, you can hear the sound that the stylus generates even if you're not connected to any speaker whatsoever. So this very, very small signal is amplified with the phono preamp. Maybe your turntable has already a preamp inside, but if it doesn't, you need to have a preamp, and this will change how you're listening to music as well. The stylus is the component that I think is the most critical one. So this was, at least for me, the most critical part of my turntable that alters the sound the most. So we already talked about the stylus and how it has a lifespan. So with that said, we know that most probably you have changed the stylus in your turntable, or at least that's what I expect after 2,000-3,000 listening hours. And I've heard so many stylus, but the one that I like the most, and is the one that I have right now, is the Orthophone 2M Bronze. I have tried so many stylus, but this is the one that I like the most because it has that level of detail on sound that kind of remind me of digital music, because digital music for me is more detailed, but it still preserves that analog taste, that analog flower that a vinyl gives us. And this made a huge difference from the other stylus that I have. The stylus that I had before, it was an Orthophone Blue. And I remember when I bought this stylus, this is the second time that I bought the same one, I had to listen to, again, all my most favorite albums because they sounded very different, more detailed, with more life. And of course, you have to keep your records clean, dry, and out of static. The conditions of your record collection is unique of yourself. Nobody will have the same UK first pressing of Master of Puppets in the same conditions that you have. All these things makes my listening sessions to be kinda unique. When I'm out for a trip very far from home, or when I listen to music, I miss how my vinyl sounds, because I do know how the bass drum of Denny Carey sounds when I listen to my Fear Inoculum copy. And I do know when I listen to that song on vinyl, it's very different when I listen to that song on streaming or CD. I've been in some audio shows where they have equipments that cost a fortune, $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 the system. I mean, my system is way cheaper than that, but I kind of prefer how it sounds because I know how it sounds. I think my sound system is kind of a puzzle that I have created with all my individual pieces. And I guess that is kind of how I like to listen to music, and most people, or the vast majority of people that prefer vinyl, is because of that reason, I think. Thank you so much for watching, guys. What do you prefer, CD, vinyl? Now that I'm thinking about, I think I prefer live music, right? Okay, take care, bye.